Hello and welcome everybody back to another wonderful round here with ARL. I'm your host Saagar Bakshi. Joining me in the booth is going to be Jack, and we're here for an epic finale. Let's get the race info for the Porsche Cup World Tour. This is round 7 at Mountain Panorama. We've got a lot of history here around this track. It's going to be long. It's going to be brutal. The drivers have to respect the mountain. We have 3.8 miles of treacherous terrain, founded in 1938, unchanged since 1987. We're located in Bathurst, New South Wales, Australia. We have 23 corners, 14 to the left, 9 to the right, with an elevation change of 174 meters or 571 feet. The Conrad Straight is very, very long, just over 1 mile at 1.1. The drivers have a lot of things to consider, but number one is respecting track limits. Bathurst will punish mistakes here. Very narrow walls and elevation changes with little runoff means once you're committed to a corner, there's no correcting those errors. Number two, prioritizing your braking and throttle control in the Porsche Cup. It isn't a high downforce GT3. It demands precision. Brake progressively and early. Be smooth on your throttle and exit and carry your momentum through the corner. Number three, as for any car in any make or series here, respect the mountain. And that comes with patience and consistency rather than aggression. If you lead with aggression, it will just lead you to making mistakes. Basically, it's not faster to ride someone's tail and risk a crash. Consistent, clean laps often beat risky maneuvers. Let's take a look at the championship details as well, because it's pretty close here at the top. Mikel Molida in P1 with Sean Stewart in P2, Morné Plooy in P3, Bowie Schoen in P4, Kyle Schoen in P5, Zanotti in 6th, Piper in 7th, Kent in 8th, Magruder in 9th, Bejoy in 10th. And Jack, why don't you take us through the rest of the drivers?
Yeah, it's certainly a great-looking championship. Some fights in the midfield, especially between Wyatt Johnson and Vince De Silva in 11th and 12th. Sam Grafe, 13th. DeRusse Timms, 14th. Rigo Campos in 15th. Gab Chavez, 16th. Anthony Pacheco, 17th. And Corey Osborne in 18th position.
And over to the 19th driver.
There we do have 27 drivers who have scored points so far in this championship. Not too many are with us this evening, but I will continue to read them out nonetheless. Will Garwood, 19th. Leon Vindel, 20th. Hugh, 21st. Ibrahim, 22nd. Walsh, 23rd. Steck, 24th. Rodriguez, 25th. Satori, 26th. And another Rodriguez finishing out the points in 27th.
Awesome to see such a healthy grid of drivers trying to participate in a championship like this. 7 rounds. Kind of grueling, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. Especially any series that finishes off at a circuit such as this, Mount Panorama, it is an absolute bruiser. Separates the men from the boys, and the walls are never far away. It's such a good circuit. I had the distinct pleasure of already having another race to commentate earlier today, and usually I'd get a little bit tired of seeing the same circuit twice in one day. Not today. Not Mount Panorama. This circuit is incredible. It is among the absolute greats. Some of the greatest motorsport events of the year are always happening here. We had the distinct pleasure of the 12-hour, and I'm sure, Scary, I'm sure you caught some of that. At least saw the clips of some of the massive accidents. Gotta say,
Absolutely.
hoping for a little bit less carnage here today.
We can only hope and pray so. Morné Plooy going up into provisional pole with a 206.44 will top the charts right now. That'll be Sean Stewart in P2. You might have to help me with the driver in third place's name, Paterakis. I'm going to go with that, and I'm going to stick with it as the driver. I believe that's a Greek flag, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
And Bowie Sun in P5, Mike Alley in P6. And I'll round out the drivers that have set the time so far. Open qualifying. So it means that we do have a little bit of traffic out there. And there goes Daniel Kent provisionally into P2 with the rest of qualifying yet to go. And there goes Kent round at Hell Corner. And that seems to be why it's called that.
Oh, absolutely aptly named. Any race start here with any amount of aggression. You can see 3-4 wide into a corner that's maybe really only designed to fit two cars. And this will give you a great onboard view as you start coming down the mountain. You hit the crest, you enter into the S's, and it's so on edge all the time. Into the Dipper, which I don't think I need to explain why that's named such it is. Forced Elbow, one of the most important corners on the circuit, sets you up for the long straight, but I think we're going to have to wait to see that straight tackled in anger for another moment. Drivers quickly running out of grip on their tires in qualifying, maybe only fueling for a couple of laps. Get the absolute best out of these cars. And, well, the times are starting to drop. I know we saw in practice they were dipping into the 2-minute 5-second. Possibly we're going to see that. Those times are going to begin to come down as the session begins to go on. But we're almost halfway into qualifying, and it's still Plooy on the pole. I say that. It's Paterakis, the Greek driver, up to provisional pole at the half distance.
That is true, but we have 5 drivers under 1 second, 6 if you include Suin. So it's awfully close right now. Ted Piper, running in 4th place, has gone green in almost every sector and even nabbed a purple sector too. So it's looking good out here for the leader, but now it'll be 52 thousandths separating P1 from P2.
I'm wondering, he was struggling with the final corner in practice just a little bit. Seemed that maybe missed the apex just a bit, tickled the throttle a little bit too late, lost just a tiny bit of time. That final corner is so deceptive. You sort of start to relax once you get down the mountain. Once you get on the really, really long Conrad straight, you sort of are like, all right, cool, just a couple of corners to go to finish out the lap. But the last corner, one of the most difficult, one of the most punishing. The start-finish straight seems short in comparison to the other 2 straights on the circuit, but no, it is important. Every corner absolutely crucial when it comes to qualifying. Just flying up the mountain. These are the new and improved 992.2 Cup cars, as a reminder. Great to see that iRacing has already implemented such a new spec of car. And into the wall, just barely. Losing maybe a little bit of body work and a little bit of performance. That doesn't throw Ted Piper off too much. And I'm sure, Saagar, have you tackled the mountain at all in anger? You know that that happens in any good lap. You tackle the wall.
Of course. I mean, I like my tracks like I like my girls in life, trying to kill me around every single corner. So Mount Panorama is one of my favorite tracks of all time. and it gives me that rush that you're looking for when you're a sim racing driver. It reminds you of a mini Nordschleife. It's not really a track that you can memorize, it's more of a track that you feel to be fast at. Although it is good to know the corners and how they flow, sometimes you're taking them at different rates of speed, depending on traffic conditions, depending on the weather conditions, such as we see on screen right now. It's pretty cool out there. 68 degrees Fahrenheit or 20 degrees Celsius. We have a northeasterly wind coming in at 13 miles per hour. Humidity at 68%, so not too shabby. I did want to point out, for just a few moments in time, we had three drivers, within 1/10 of each other, but Paterakis comes through, sets down the gauntlet. 2:05.832 will be the new provisional pole time that he just threw down. More Plooy out there now trying to set a good lap time, but I don't think he's going to stitch together right now on this lap.
Yeah, we're running out of time, a little bit out of laps, maybe 2-3 laps for most of our drivers that are still out there. The provisional pole sitter briefly jumping into pit lane, maybe fresh set of tires, fresh pipette of fuel. But it's Bowie Suin who we're on board with now going into the chase section. That's turns 20 through 22. It is electric following a car into this braking zone because you think, oh, I'm going to brake so late, and then you're off into the gravel almost instantly. Qualifying, a little bit different. Tend to be on a bit more emptier circuit, but it can come back at you. As you're saying at the top of the show about braking early in these cup cars, that to me is one of the biggest adjustments if you're coming out of GT3 or even GT4 machinery, something that has a little bit more downforce, a little bit more braking performance. You really can push distances, but cup cars never, or the Porsche Cup cars specifically, never seems to slow down near the rate of any other car. And that there's any massive braking zones outside of turn 20 on this circuit, but they do feel a whole lot longer when you're staring at walls at any given point. If you want your brakes to feel good, and well, cup cars, they feel all right, but they certainly aren't perfect. Up the mountain we go again, and I'm itching to get going on this race, Soccer. It's just, I'm ready to see these things gridded up and in anger going wheel to wheel.
This driver right here, Morné Plooy, was able to get within a 10th of Paterakis, who was in provisional pole. Now it'll be Ted Piper who claims that provisional pole position with a 2:05.51. Those drivers coming down to get those 2:05s settled in, the best of the rest being in the 2:06s, was starting with Daniel Kent, Bowie Suin in P5, Sean Stewart in P6, Michael Molida in P7, Mike Alley, Wyatt Johnson, and Josiah Loreno Then. Not setting times yet, but Mike Alley might be able to get one stitched together in the last couple minutes of this session. Yellow times come out for Morné Plooy, unfortunately, but the driver ahead of Molida might be able to get a little bit better than 7th place, as we are seeing green times attached to his name. 2:05.51 is going to be the time to beat, but can he do it? Nope. Purple sectors attached to his name as we get to the final corner. It doesn't really touch that apex as tightly as he can. I guess in these Porsche Cup cars, you don't want to unsettle the car too much by mounting that sausage curb that the GT3s will typically attack.
Yeah, interestingly, I'm looking down to the bottom left. Ted Piper's actually going a whole heck of a lot quicker through the middle part of the lap, and clearly finding pace, finding comfortability going down the mountain. It is impressive. We were speaking to him very briefly before the race, or sorry, before the qualifying session came underway, and well, it sounded like he couldn't keep it out of the wall. Clearly that is all fixed and dealt with, because he's absolutely flying. Not a personal best through the first part, but it's purple all the way through the end of the lap. A little bit of a drift on the exit of the final corner, and I'm sure it's going to be a bit of an improvement, and it is over half a second. We're not in the 2:05s anymore. We have crossed into the 2-minute 4's unbelievable lap time at the very end of the session. And I think for Ted, he's going to take a sigh of relief and park that car back up. That's as good as we're going to get from him in a mighty, mighty gauntlet to be laid down.
110% of that lap was given. That 204.9 was pretty darn snazzy. I mean, can you really throw down anything more than that? Here comes Morné to Plooy down the hill, but it won't be any improvements, it looks like, unfortunately. There we did get a look at Ted there with his web camera, and you could see the joy of getting that provisional pole as he sits now in pit lane for the remaining couple of moments of qualifying, and that actually will be the end of qualifying. So let's go ahead and get the results posted in just a few moments.
Gotta say, 15 minutes of qualifying absolutely zipped by. We have two 30-minute races. First one being, as we just saw, determined by the grid from qualifying. And the second race, which is something I do love about this series, is it is a reverse grid. So if you get pole in the start of the race, wonderful, fantastic. You're starting from the back at race 2. Ted Piper on the pole, followed by Stamatios Parakis in second position. Morné to Plooy third. Daniel Kent fourth. Bowie Sue in fifth. Sean Stewart sixth. Michael Maleta in seventh. Mike Alley in eighth. Wyatt Johnson in ninth. And Josiah Sten holding the wooden spoon at the end of the qualifying. But as I said, reverse grid. The beautiful thing, Saagar, is, well, that's going to be a pole position in a little over half an hour.
Yeah, and maybe that is a little bit of a tactic going into heat number 2. Let's take a look at that grid one more time as the safety car is about to take us around the backside of the track. Ted Piper and Parakis on that first row alongside Morné to Plooy and Daniel Kent. Bowie Suin alongside Sean Stewart, Michael Molita next to Mike Alley in row number 4, and Wyatt Johnson next to Jais Then, the driver for the Dominican Republic, in the last of rows. So, any predictions here tonight for any of these drivers, or shall we let the cards fall where they may?
I mean, qualifying pace is one thing. Getting the best out of one lap is certainly a skill, but when it comes down to race pace, especially around a circuit such as this, you got to be consistent for a little while. It's an entirely different decision. I mean, I'd say Ted Piper's maybe going to have, I mean, if he runs away with it in the first couple of corners, gets a bit of distance and settles in, I think victory for race 1 could be his, but I don't know. I mean, Sean Stewart and Michael Maleta are currently fighting for a championship. I don't think they're going to be hanging around in the mid-pack. They're probably going to try to move up. So I don't know. It's anyone's guess ultimately. And Scar, any predictions from your end? Any clairvoyance? You know what we don't?
I think the elephant in the room here is that nobody wins at Mount Panorama except the Mountain. So the Mountain will claim lives tonight. How many drivers? It's up to them. That's my prediction for the night, is that we're bound to see one big wreck on the racetrack. We always hope not, but in the event that we do see that, we might get to bring out a safety car, as we have seen in other times in this series. So that'll bunch up the field, allow drivers to use their fast repair, get back into the mix, and start fighting all over again. It'll be interesting. Time to go is ticking away as the drivers sit behind the safety car, waiting for the leader to hit go. Let's see what Ted Piper is up to right now.
Just wait, anticipating what's to come. The lights should go out for the formation any second, and depending on the kind of driver you are, a formation like this is either the best or worst thing. Because if you're relaxed, if you're sort of calm, it gives you that last chance to settle in, shake it out a little bit, have a final sip of water before you go. But if you're feeling a little bit nervous, if you're feeling a little unsure, this is the worst possible thing because you don't want to have to go slow for a moment. You immediately want to hit the loud pedal and you want to get going. For me, I sometimes sit in the middle. It depends on the day, actually. I try to be a little bit patient, but sometimes I agonize over doing a couple of corners gridded up nice and slow. But Saagar, we should be going any moment now. Let's see how it all begins.
Ready to tank the green light. Ted Piper controls the field long to Plooy in shot as well. Coming down towards corner number 1, it will be calm, cool, and collected, but further back we will go too wide. No, single file will be the order of operations for the drivers, it seems. It doesn't look like anybody's squabbling for positions right now as much as I expected them to on the opening lap, on the opening corner, but it will be a little bit of argy-barginess between the 92 and the 77 as Molita finds a way by and through. Not too shabby there.
Yeah, this is important championship deciding stuff. It's Stewart versus Molita. Anyone's game, but honestly, as surprised as I was, nothing doing too much on the start. Everyone taking it pretty easy. Once you start heading up the mountain, though, there is almost no real opportunities to overtake. It's all about setting yourself up, getting in the mirrors as much as you can where you can, getting ready for the Conrad Straight. That's going to be your next and best opportunity now. We'll see how Sean Stewart does with the S's coming down for the first time in the race. It's a little bit different when you're staring at the back of another Porsche Cup car. It's maybe a little bit more intimidating, maybe a little bit less, because you get that opportunity to use them as a marker. They go into the dipper for the first time. A little bit different lines, one a bit narrow, one running a bit wide. I think it might be a race down the Conrad, and maybe a championship deciding overtake here coming up towards the chase.
Looking good here on the opening lap. Molita and Stewart going wheel to wheel through the cake, and they're going to lose the rear end. The number 92 gets a little sideways, and that will be championship deciding for sure as the two drivers are taken out of this race. Holy Toledo.
Oh, and it's not a good rejoin from Molita. He was thinking he wanted to rush back onto the circuit and get ahead of Stewart, but he cores dirty tires. He slides back around. That allows Sean Stewart to comfortably take that position back. I was thinking they're coming into the corner. I was like, oh yeah, this will be fine. And then I remembered mid-corner, oh, these are Cup cars. They don't have nearly the downforce to pull this off. And they both just pirouette round one into the other, and into the gravel they go. It's going to be a long 27 minutes for the pair. But fortunately didn't involve too many other cars, or really any other cars. It's good news for the men in the backfield, but it's bad news for the championship contenders. It could be decided in this race, and it makes it all the more tricky for Molita come race 2. But good news, 27 minutes remain. That's our first lap done in this sprint race. It's already super close in the backpack, half a second separating multiple cars from one another. It's just the patience game. It's a mental game more than anything. When you're in a fighting field like this, you know that mistakes can't be made anywhere, and you obviously don't want to outbrake yourself into the back of another car. It's all about consistency, keeping it out of the wall, and setting yourself up for a move down the straight.
100%. Checking in with the leader right now. This will be Ted Piper, still leading the charge, but the gap is closing down again. Thank you so much to the drivers for participating in uploading their SDK profiles and giving us their webcams. I think it adds a little bit of immersion to the scenery here and we get to see exactly what's going through Ted's mind right now. You can see him biting his lower lip a little bit. He's focused and determined. He's got some rear aero damage as well, and you can see all the debris being kicked up. Beautiful that iRacing has that dynamic model available to us now, something that was only available to us in other simulators up until very recently, and the tire model looks very good to boot. 206.8, the new fast lap coming out of Panorakis. The driver in second place, really closing down the door on the number 43, out in front in the lead of this race.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, you spotted the rear damage on Ted Piper's car, but I saw a little bit of front damage on Panorakis. I think they had a little bit of a coming together in the early stages. Panorakis, though, was going to try it around the outside of Corey. It almost never works. It's so difficult to pull off a move like that. Great defensive maneuver from Ted Piper. He holds the lead for just another moment. These two, though, are going to need to look behind because you have another pair of Plooy and Suin that have decided to join the fray. That's something worth considering. You're fighting with another car, you feel comfortable. All right, this is a mano-a-mano effect, but, well, you're going to lose time when you do that. And if you lose time, the cars behind are going to gain, and then it's going to become a big kerfuffle. I gotta say, big fan of having the driver cam. This is the first time I've ever seen this. This is wonderful. It really gives you a true driver's eye view. It shows that these are people driving these cars. They might be virtual cars, but it's real people with real skill and real time put into these events, and it's absolutely fantastic.
Yes, and here is Morné Plooy, a pilot of the number 8 right now from South Africa. Great to see him out on track again. Great to see him competing in this championship because he's nestled into the top 5. But right now, he's battling for a top 3 spot. Let's take a look up ahead because Panorakis might be going for a look down the inside line. The Greek driver doesn't want to attack just yet. We still have 23 minutes left to go in this heat. I mean, it's still anybody's ball game, and as I said, the Mountain will claim lives tonight, and it hasn't really shown its teeth yet. So I'm still curious when that's going to happen. New fast lap being trickled in. 206s now coming in, and Kent steals away the fast lap. 206.59 that last time around.
As some wise people say that every single time there's a race at Mount Panorama, there must be a carbon fiber sacrifice to the mountain. Somebody's going to rub against that wall a little too hard, rip a piece of bodywork off, and the mountain's going to take that. But nothing happening up the mountain so far outside of, well, that wasn't on the mountain, that was coming down, that was coming through turn 21, that massive dual pirouette from our championship contenders. But Panorakis is looking quick, but I will say, is the strategy for Bathurst, it can be a little bit different. You don't necessarily need to be faster than anybody else on this section of the circuit. You just have to not let them get past you. You know, that sounds a little bit silly, but, you know, there isn't really overtaking moves unless, well, a huge mistake happens. And if that mistake happens, there's probably a bit more to worry about, and an upside-down car and flying bodywork and all that sort of stuff. But for Ted Piper, he can almost maybe not push quite as hard through the middle of the lap. Once he knows everyone's in single file, that's where they're going to be. And then he maximizes the very end as he's coming down. Maximize turn 18, the dipper, and he has done. You can already see the gap going the way of the leader. And sort of I think that's how that race is going to play out. Maximum focus required by all of these drivers. Such a tricky circuit.
Yeah, it really is. It's a battle of attrition, and it's a battle of mistakes. When it comes down to it, wanted to check in with a driver in the back of the pack. This is Wyatt Johnson. I believe we do have a web camera of Wyatt Johnson as well. Unfortunately, he's in a very dark room, it would seem. We're unable to check in with Wyatt, but he's running in a battle with Mike Alley right now for the battle of 6th and 7th position. Has a little bit of rear end damage to that car as well, but he is running faster than Alley the last 3 laps around. So let's take a look at that improvement. Yes, he is gaining 1.5 seconds that last time around going Johnson's way. So expect this one to get a little bit spicier as the moments tick away.
I'm wondering if maybe Johnson got off to, maybe a bit of a slow start, maybe a bit of a gentle start, made a couple mistakes here and there, dropping time. But now once the tires are fired up, once you're sort of feeling comfortable, the car you have under you has really started to push, really started to find that pace. And it's now going to be a matter of time before this position changes hands. But, he has the pace. But as I said, going up the mountain, there's really no reason to try to go for anything drastic. You have to be patient. Patient everywhere, not just in overtaking, but on every single movement, every single input you're going to give, no matter the car. It's just what the mountain asks from you as a driver. I say that he is going to go for a move regardless, down into the S's. I don't think that Ali fought that at all. Maybe lifted a bit to let him through, but not often, Saagar, you get to see an overtake at the top of the mountain like that. So I think we've gotten treated just a little bit.
Very few and far between are overtakes made coming up the hill at McPhillamy Park and the entrance to Skyline, unless you're talking about multi-class racing. And of course, Bathurst has plenty of multi-class racing, and that occurs during the Bathurst 12 Hours. It was first held in 1991, but hold your breath, because Paterakis is going for a move on Piper. Going into the final corner, the side-by-side is going to begin, and this is where things are going to get a little spicy. The overlap is there. The 43 tries to cross over, chops the nose off of Paterakis, the driver behind. He has nowhere to go. The 5 has to fall in single file line. Holy smokes, was that close?
Yeah, it was a very aggressive defensive move, but rightly respected by Paterakis behind. Cup car racing is a bit unique in many ways, one of which is that a little bit of contact here and there is almost expected rather than it's almost encouraged. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. So a little bit of door-to-door, a little bit of wheel-to-wheel, that's okay. It's all in the name of good fun and hard racing. But I think Ted Piper maybe beginning to feel the pressure, not quite having the pace on the race fuel as he did in qualifying. It is a completely different effort, but keeping somebody behind track position is absolutely everything. See, still just absolutely focused, absolutely poised, almost having to fight the car in every single way. Right, left to right goes his steering wheel, but he's managing to keep it all together. On this lap alone, Plooy was looking like they maybe would join the fight, but just on this last lap, they've sort of ran away, maybe working together a bit. If they don't fight so hard, that would gain themselves plenty of room past the driver who's currently in third. But another stellar lap from Ted Piper. He's going to continue to lead this race.
Yes, he will. Morné Plooy having a little bit of a mistake during the mountain section slowed him down, and he's losing touch with the cars in front just a little bit. Here's Daniel Kent chasing down Boy Sun out in front, the number 4 and the number 10. Gonna go toe-to-toe right now, coming through the cutting. Now into the final corner, it'll be a little bit of single file line order operation. 205.2 popped out from Piper, so he really did light the match on that last lap. 206.6 showing the mistake from Morné, but Paterakis has a mistake, and he's around coming out of the first corner. Let's get a replay of what happened there.
Yeah, I saw briefly it popped him up in the pit lane, and I was like, oh, did he have a little bit of connection issue? But no, he spun in the hell corner and briefly ended up in the pit exit, fortunately getting this car stopped in time, not on the racing line. A good, safe rejoin, just waiting just a moment. But that is huge. Ted Piper now, as much of a sigh of relief as you can breathe in a race at Mountain Panorama, he can breathe it now. Paterakis down to 5th, but 16 minutes remaining, he can find himself up a couple of positions by the time the checkered waves.
Wowza. What an incident, to say the least. I mean, it happened all by his lonesome, unfortunately. No one to blame there except for the sausage curb that unsettled his car. That really will hurt his charge. But like we said, reverse grid for heat number 2 coming up. And we're only not even halfway through heat number 1 at this point in time. So give us a few moments in time and we'll bring you more exciting racing action. But for now, it's the calm before the storm, I would say, because the drivers are separated by just about seconds on the track. We have Bowie Sun, who is still within spitting distance of Daniel Kent, the driver behind Bowie, up 2 positions on the grid for the evening. And Daniel Kent right where he started in P4.
Yeah, they're sort of ebbing and flowing a bit between them. It seemed that last lap that Kent really had the pace to swipe on by Suen. I mean, this is a fight for a podium now, so it could be that the Drivetrainer Motorsports driver just found that extra bit of pedal underneath him, and he's like, well, I'm not fighting for 4th anymore, I'm fighting for 3rd. Let's find a little bit more lap time. Let's commit just a little bit harder. But it's certainly close between the two. I think any minor mistake could decide either one of their fates. It's super close now, but nothing doing between the pair. And it's been remarkably clean, I have to say, in the first half of this race. I mean, no carbon fiber-based sacrifices coming up the mountain. Everybody managing to stay out of the walls. Everybody managing to keep it clean. I'm super, super impressed. Anytime I see any sort of event here, just getting around the circuit is a achievement enough, let alone going wheel to wheel with some other drivers. So good to see these Cup cars absolutely roaring in Australia, and so good is Daniel Kent doing to chase down Suen podium fight.
Yes, the last spot on the podium is spicing up right now, and you have to be there in order to win it. But the mountain can still claim lives here. We haven't really talked about the tire wear or the tire fade becoming a thing yet. Obviously, the drivers have only got a 30-minute battle to contest with, but we have seen some of the drivers slide their way through some of these corners already. And that's only going to progressively get worse as the laps tick away. The more you scrub those tires, it's like using an eraser on a piece of paper. You get those little tiny marble bits or those little grains and fibers that'll stand up. But here goes Daniel Kent going for that look on Bowie Sun, but didn't find the daylight there at the end of the Conrad Straight, unfortunately. It's one of those things that you kind of have to do to your opponent, is force them into a mistake by making them look in their rearview mirror. And I think Daniel Kent executed that one perfectly, finding the alternate line going into the chase, but it just did not work out for him. Not into the chase, excuse me. Yes, going into the chase, not the cutting. I'm getting my corners mixed up. Disregard.
There's plenty of corners to get mixed up here. Plenty of them with long and random names and years of history. Such a fantastic circuit. I'd say in my top 5 circuits of all time, Mountain Panorama might find a place. Don't ask me what that is off the top of my head. We'll be here for multiple hours while I debate with myself about which ones. It's such a phenomenal circuit. I don't think I drive it as much as I should. And it always produces great racing. And it's the kind of circuit similar to the Nürburgring Nordschleife that a car by itself just tackling the circuit in anger is exciting. There aren't too many circuits around that a track day would look exciting, but this is the kind of circuit that is. And Suen, though, sort of adopting the I'm going to race you by not racing you style of defense, which is not making any mistakes. You don't feel the need to go defensive as long as you feel confident in your driving style. But Kent gets so close yet again, coming down the S's into the dipper. He's about as close as he's been. Oh, the exit is just a bit better. You can see the delta in the top left already coming down, and they haven't really reached the straight yet. The slipstream is reasonably powerful, as it is in most Cup cars. A bit draggy, So anytime you can get a little bit of a vacuum behind, it's going to be close. They're going to think about going too wide. They're going to go too wide through turn 20. A repeat of what we saw earlier in the race. If you dip on an inside line, you just cut the car too hard, and Daniel Kent is around for a 720, maybe a few more spins than that, and down a couple of positions. Clearly, it's something about the circuit surface and the way these cars take it that they just can't cut that line any harder than they did. But it's down a few positions, but fortunately back on the circuit. And Saagar, I gotta say, I'm a bit surprised that the rear wing is still bolted to that car. It took a couple of nasty hits.
Yeah, the car pirouetted quite a few times, and you could see the front end damage there. But you're absolutely right. I'm surprised that there's not more damage incurred to that vehicle. But Daniel Kent, now down 3 on the good of things, has to limp his way around the track before coming down pit road. Again, let's check back in with Wyatt Johnson, who hasn't set a qualifying time, or who did not set a qualifying time, getting chased down by Mike Alley. Alley, not quicker on that last laps as we take a quick look. A lot of times actually going the way of Paterakis on that last lap. So Paterakis escaping this battle here, and Johnson escaping up the road a little bit from Alley.
Yeah, it's not too surprising to see that Paterakis is a bit quicker than this pair. Granted, I mean, he was racing for the lead at one point, if not for the spin in Hell Corner, but these two, I mean, it's not too great of a swing either way. I mean, lap 5, huge swing from the pair, but it's sort of been ebbing and flowing just a bit, maybe 2/10 this way, 2/10 that way, and the gap is definitely closing. It's interesting to see. I've seen several different lines coming down the dipper, some electing to go a bit wide and sort of V'ing off the corner, and others taking it a bit narrow. Can't say I know what the quickest line is. Haven't driven a cup car on Mount Panorama, so I trust these guys way more than I trust myself, and as I always say, there's a reason I'm here and they are there.
110%. I'm just a washed up sim racer turned commentator. Jack, I don't know about you, brother.
I'm not. I don't know if I'm washed up yet, but I'm just washed already. I mean, I've never been good. I've never pretended that I am good, and I seem to be much more adept at talking than I am racing.
That's very fair. Sometimes we're just better at talking about cars than we are at driving them. I just figured to get a little anecdotal with it now as we approach the podcast hour of this race. I just figured out that I was never going to be the very best of my category. So once I figured that out, I actually had hurt my back and started commentating for a couple of friends' leagues. And I just got the bug for racing there, and the joy and thrill of racing was always there, watching racing. And it hits a little different when you get to know the drivers a little bit more. You get to know the league owners, the sponsors of the league or the organization. It just makes things...
Rally there.
What's that?
He tapped the wall a bit, Mike Alley, coming out of turn 10. He just scraped by, I think, just a little bit of carbon fiber spraying everywhere.
No big deal for the Rotten Banana Racing team. Just loses out a hair of time to Wyatt Johnson up ahead. I did check in. It looks like we still don't have that webcam from Wyatt Johnson, so maybe he can rectify that during our race break between heat number 1 and heat number 2, where we will be talking to the drivers as well if they're able to come and join us in the Discord during our warm-up session. We'd love to have them. So anybody that's paying attention, come and join us in the broadcast channel during the warm-up session. Ted Pipers continues to lead the field out in P1 with 6:30 remaining on the clock. Morné Plooy in P2. Boy Suin inherits P3. And I'm going to screw this one up. I'm sorry. Stamatios Paterakis in P4, Wyatt Johnson in the background in P5, Mike Alley in 6th, Daniel Kent in 7th, Sean Stewart in 8th, Michael Molita in 9th, and Josias Then in 10th.
Yeah, I will say, I know you couldn't see me, but I gave the Stamatios Barakis pronunciation a thumbs up. That's about as good as I could do. I have the distinct pleasure of a lot of times I'm commentating, it's in European League, so I've gotten good at confidently butchering names because these are Eastern European drivers with, 13-letter long last names with mostly vowels. It's just anybody's guess. And, the piece of advice I was given is you're only wrong if someone tells you you're wrong. So the way you say it is it's as right as anybody else.
It's very true. You gotta fake it till you make it a little bit of the time. And let's check out what Morné Plooy is looking at. I love that widescreen monitor he has. I myself am a widescreen fanatic. I run a 49-inch ultra wide. His is not quite that large, but it's not about the size of your monitor. It's about how you use it, right, Jack?
Oh, absolutely. I think my monitor, I don't have an ultra wide. I just have a 32-inch monitor. I think it's average, I think I use it pretty well. Yeah,
it's a grower. You'll grow into the 49.
Yeah, something like that. Or maybe I could get some surgery. That might help. But no, I haven't quite invested into triples, into a widescreen thing. Quite honestly, I don't quite have the space for a dedicated rig, and I used my desk space for a million other things, and an ultra wide would just sort of get in the way. Brief off-track rallycross excursion for Daniel Kent. Maybe a bit of his damage getting the better of him, but still holding together, still holding firm. We'll say Morné Plooy, the South African driver, has closed up quite a bit to Ted Piper. I think that gap was as far as 3.5, 4 seconds at one point. Last lap, it was nearer to 1 second than anything else. So, handful of laps to go. It could be a switch for the lead at the very end. Any minor mistake, any scuff with the wall, any sort of slide that Ted Piper has, absolutely beyond this, absolutely clinch this victory. There is no waiting around. He's put in some superb laps, multiple laps on the 5. It's interesting to see a lot of these drivers bettering their qualifying time or bettering in the race their time than they did in qualifying. Unbelievable stuff.
Yeah, it really is impressive what the drivers are capable of doing. Now, the gap is slightly coming down to Ted Piper ahead, but Morné Plooy, I think it's a little too late as we're about to get the white flag lap. I think we'll get this lap plus one more. Let's take a quick look at Alley and Kent, because it looks like the wounded wings of Daniel Kent are succumbing to the attacking Mike Alley from behind. That gap has come down pretty substantially, and the Rotten Bananas are coming for P6.
You ever smelled a truly rotten banana?
I have.
You would think, because naturally a banana doesn't smell like anything. You'd think that it wouldn't really become the absolute smelly mess that it is. But so my question is, where does that race team name come from? Because I'm sure there's a story. There's got to be a story.
He's got a logo on the side that looks a little radioactive. Maybe we'll talk to Mike Alley during the mid-race break and find out a little bit about the lore behind the Rotten Banana Racing team. But here's Boy Suin, who might unfortunately lose this podium because Paterakis has been attacking like an absolute lion these last 5 laps, gaining as much as 2.5 seconds on lap 10. On lap 13, it was 1.8 seconds. Then we all know, like the late great Maury Walker said, catching is one thing, passing is a whole nother ball game. So, although Paterakis can close down the gap, will he be able to make the overtake stick? Probably not during the mountain section unless he's bold and brave to make it happen at McPhillamy Park on the way down into Skyline, but he's pushing so hard, he is grazing the wall. Paterakis driving with his heart on his sleeve.
Yeah, and it's going to be all about patience here, which, you'd think, 1 lap to go. Not much time to be patient, but you got to have the right amount of patience. Not a lot of good, clean overtaking opportunities. You want to measure your time. Maybe 2-3 more spots remaining. Paterakis setting himself up super well coming out of the dipper, going through turn 19 now. Gap 3/10 coming down ever faster. That toe is strong. Is Paterakis going to make the same mistake? Are they going to try to go too wide through turn 20? I hope not. He's thinking about it. Maybe staying line astern. Is he going to try it on the brakes? Maybe a late move on the inside? But Suen just staying right up the middle of the circuit. Brilliant defense. So it's not this time round. We're getting ready for the very last lap. A meatball flag has actually been waved for Kent. I think maybe he was trying a little bit too hard. Maybe he touched the wall too hard. Paterakis tried to go around the outside of the final corner. That would have been something. Hasn't really set himself up well for turn 1, though. That's the unfortunate thing. Maybe being a little bit too impatient. The mountain straight, though, coming up super long. It's a second to last opportunity for a good, clean overtake on Suen. The gap's coming down. It's not a big braking zone into Quarry for turn 2, but could try a little something. Maybe a late move we're going to see from Paterakis. Nope, he's going to hold it back for now. Maybe he's going to wait, hold behind for the mountain section. One final move, chance-making move, I think, remaining. Maybe 2 if he's lucky, Sasha.
Into the cutting, he looks strong. Up the mountain section, you could be a lot faster, but still not have the opportunity. Looking through the inside line, out of Griffin's, now into McPhillamy. This is where things get tricky, and you need to be decisive if you want to make an overtaking move stick. On the run down to Skyline, under the brakes, no one's going for it yet. This will be the white flag lap as time has officially run out. The leader is about to cross the line, but we've got to stay on board with this battle because it's getting spicy on our way down the hill into Forest Elbow. But I think the breath can be made now because Paterakis is a little too far back. It will be Ted Piper leading us into the final chicane for the final time. It will be a monumental charge for him. Ted Piper in P1, chased down by Morné du Plooy in P2. This is going to be a great finish for the two drivers, nose to tail, just separated by 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, that got a lot closer down to the end than I would have expected. And for the fight for the podium, I almost think that maybe if Paterakis didn't go for the move in the final corner on the penultimate lap, he would have been much better set up, maybe a bit desperate, maybe making a few too many mistakes. 4th place is the best he can do. And Suen is breathing a very heavy sigh, holding on to that podium position, and a couple of victory donuts to boot for our victor, Ted Piper. An absolutely phenomenal race. Pole to green to checker. Nobody was able to pass him, and a very good performance from the pair. It's just Stewart, Kent, and Maleta to cross the line next. Our group of damaged goods, shall we say. Stewart crosses the line. Kent had to go in pit lane for that meatball flag, carrying a bit too much damage. I could imagine coming up the mountain, and then it will be Maleta to cross the line. It could be a championship swing in this race. I think, Saagar, I'm going to do a little bit of napkin math, my favorite kind of math, to determine where the championship points are standing after this race.
Sounds great. We'll take a couple of looks at the racetrack right now, the sights and sounds of Bathurst, but let's take a look at the official results from heat number 1 as we go into our warm-up session now. So we'll give us the drivers a few moments to rest, relax, get a breath, grab some water, maybe hydrate or dehydrate themselves before the next heat. For the overall We have in P1 Ted Piper, who won the race when the number 43 America's Racing League driver. Won by 0.3 of a second in front of Morné the privateer number 8 from South Africa. Boy Soon in P3 from Drive Trainer Motorsports, 18 seconds back. Then Paterakis after a big spill, the Greek driver 19 seconds back from the leader. Wyatt Johnson started from the back of the pack in P9, I believe, and then made his way all the way up into P5. Mike Alley in P6, Sean Stewart in 7th, Daniel Kent in 8th, Michael Melita in 9th, and Josiah Then in P10.
Now we have the distinct pleasure to talk to the man of the hour himself, Mr. Ted Piper. Absolutely fantastic first drive. Good way to start off the night. How are you feeling?
That was tough to hold off Stam, and then Morn just chipped away at me at the end there. I had to be pretty much on point the entire race, which made me very tense and sweaty.
Any good race, you know a race has gone well when you got to wipe the sweat off your brow after it.
Yeah.
But no, I joked after you were sort of let go after the first couple of laps. You didn't have anybody right on your tail at the moment. I was like, he's probably breathing a sigh of relief, but I'm sure you tensed right back up on those last couple of laps.
Yeah, yeah. No, he closed the gap quick, and I was putting down like 2052, 2054, or something like that at the end, and he closed the gap on me. I was like, geez, I could not take a breath.
Well, good news, bad news. You have about 8 or so minutes to take a breath, and then you got to do it all again from the back of
Right.
the grid. So what's your
That should be
strategy?
fun.
Where's your head at as far as, overtaking at Bathurst?
It's tough.
Tricky, doable, but it takes a
I
lot of
have a
effort.
I have a lot of speed in the straight, even when like Morn and Stam were in my draft. They were, not really gaining on me too much. So my like I guess I don't know, strategy will be to get into that draft, let the race come to me a little bit, but then like I guess try to stay in people's draft to like catch up to lead. But we're gonna have Melita leading us off, I think, and Sean will be up there. And so those guys are fast. They just kind of had a tough break there at the beginning of the race. So yeah.
Well, yeah, that is absolutely to look forward to. You're gonna have the best seat in the house. You're just gonna get to watch it all unfold and hopefully not
Right.
get caught up in any early race incidents.
I know
Hopefully
that's
stay
gonna be
out of the way.
that'll be the just just try to stay alive for the first couple of laps for sure. um but yeah, 20 minutes into that race, I was on the radio with everybody's in Discord or whatever, but I was on the radio and I was like, who the hell picked this to be 30 minutes? It's like
That was
this is
you.
what I put it to a vote, so I let the people decide still.
Well, it was a great race, and congrats on the victory in race one. I don't know, maybe come from the back of the grid and do it again.
We'll see. I have my doubt that I'm gonna be, mid pack finish. I feel like it'd have to take it's gonna take a lot for me to get past Morn and Stam, and I mean Daniel Kent even had the fastest lap at one point during the race. So yeah, there's a lot of tough crowd out there.
Yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
I'm sorry for the low turnout. I don't understand where everybody's at, because we had races in the rain and there was 13 people here. So I don't know.
They fear the mountain.
I guess they fear the mountain, but
They fear the mountain.
yeah, I've done almost 500 laps on this track this last month, so I think that's kind of helping me out for sure.
Did you participate on a 12-hour team?
Yeah, we drove the Mustang. I did 173 laps on Saturday myself. So
Ooh, it's a long day. It's a long day, but that's a good day.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I would assume then that you're a proper Bathurst enjoyer.
I
You love
am.
this
I like
circuit.
this. I love this place. Yeah, it's great. And it when it clicks, it's like it's great. You know. Um, but yeah, since the 12-hour was on Saturday, I mean, this is the official support race to the Bathurst 12 here. Just low turnout.
Big news. Well, Sagar, any words of wisdom, any questions for our reigning victor on the mountain?
No, I think you plumbed it up. Well, I've got questions for you though, Jack. Did you finish up your commentator's math on a napkin there?
I did. I did. It wasn't as big of a point swing as I was expecting. The gap for the championship is closed by 2 points. So Sean Stewart's a full, I think, 11 points down now. I will say, Mr. Ted Piper, you've jumped another position in the championship. I think you're
Oh,
up
did
to
I?
sixth now. If my math is correct, how bring us
Provisionally,
home.
of course, provisionally.
Right.
My math is not to be trusted. I am not a professional. That's why I do it on a napkin.
Right. Yeah, I don't. It's not going to show us any scoring for this race until after this race, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Zanotti's not here tonight, and he is a very fast driver. So I don't understand where Zanotti is. I don't know where Kyle is. Kyle and Zanotti, I mean, fifth and sixth in the championship. You'd think that they would show up for the last race.
Well, it's good news for you. Their
Yeah.
loss is your gain. Hey, another good performance. Well, actually, I think you only need to score a single. I think you only need to score 2 points, and then you'll get fifth in the championship. So hey, could be a big day for you.
Oh, I mean, Kyle's going to have 0. Zanotti's going to have 0.
Yep.
So, I mean, I've got 25. So, well, I got 26 because I got the extra point for the fastest lap too.
Oh, then you only need to score 1 point.
Nice.
So,
Then fifth will be yours. There you go. And
and then
you
Bowie's
could
in here.
outscore Suen.
Well,
You
he's
could.
he's in
Who did
here, and I think where did he finish? He finished top 5, did he not?
he finished on the podium? He
Oh,
was
did
in
he?
third.
Third.
Yes.
Third. Dang. So no, I mean that's
You'd have to win the race, and I believe he would have to finish last.
third 17
And
points. So yeah.
yeah, and maybe if my math is correct,
So
it'd be close
Michael
between the two of you.
Molita in chat says he's got Chat GPT to update the standings for us. Which chat?
Oh,
iRacing chat?
what chat? I don't know where he's at.
Who needs napkin math when you have Chat GPT math?
So the updated championship standings is officially that Michael Molita has gained 7 points, Sean Stewart's gained 9, Monet Deploy has gained 20, and Bowie Suin's gained 17. So the new total brings it to
17.
Michael Molita with 180 points, Sean Stewart in P2. Excuse me. This can't be right. Because that would promote Morné Deploy into P2 with 171 points, Sean Stewart down to P3 with 169, and Bowie Soon with 159. Hold on.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Hold on.
Sometimes the GPT.
I think ChatGPT is wrong.
Actually, no. I think it's actually could be correct. Because Deploy did get a big point swing, and he was only 9
He's
points
second.
behind Sean Stewart.
That's
No, I
plus
think that is
20. Yeah.
absolutely on the money. Yep. More Deploy's actually jumped up to second in the championship. Ooh.
Morn has been, let me tell you, it's been a force this whole entire. I mean, he's gotten fastest lap. I don't know how many times.
Well,
Just
this might
consistent.
this could be a three-way fight for the championship. Mileta's well and truly has the advantage, but I'm not going to wish somebody ends up in the wall, but if somebody ends up in the wall, I'm just saying, if the race wasn't already going to be exciting enough, the championship could be decided here, and that
I'm
is
gonna head back to.
always good news.
We're lining up, so I'm gonna head back. So
Take care, Ted.
Best of luck to you.
all right, thanks, guys.
See, now we got to become mathematicians this last race,
Or just use ChatGPT.
or just use ChatGPT. It's a lot faster than I am, that's for sure.
Yeah, that was quick.
Yeah, the reverse grid feature race coming up to end off the season of all seasons. Porsche 992.2 Cup cars, which gun to my head, if you ask me why they're different than the old 992.1, really don't know. I hate to say it, all Porsches look the same to me.
Taking a look at our grid, we Josias then from the Dominican Republic out in P1. As the Michael Molita in P2. Daniel Kent and Sean Stewart on the second row. Mike Alley and Wyatt Johnson on the third. I'm going to screw this up again. Stamatios Padarakis in P7 next to Boy Suin in P8. Morné Deploy in P9 next to Ted Piper in the backfield.
And given how sort of the pace ended up in the last race, it was a lot of give and take from a lot of drivers, sort of mistakes taking away from what could have been. Obviously, fortunes are switched here. A really bad race in Heat 1 can put you in really good position for a good finish in Race 2. It's the beauty of a reverse grid. It's, mess that one up. Good news. Here's a free ticket. Well, not a free ticket. There are no free tickets on Mountain Panorama, but a free-ish ticket, a discount, let's say. Get a discount to a good race, good points in the next race. We'll have to see. I'll be on napkin math duty, see where the championship and how the championship is looking like. Because the safety car is moving, which means it is just about time to go green again.
And for some reason, we're not getting the tower to come up, and the iRacing audio is not coming through.
Well, call it as we see it. Coming up on the runs of pole for the final time. It's up to Michael Molita to decide where this is going to be, how this race is going to start. Green flag should come out any moment. The marshal's getting ready to wave. It's green, and he's way far out of the rest of the field. The rest of the field doesn't really seem to be moving as quickly as they are. Sort of taking it easy. Call me crazy, but it almost looks like this is all happening in slow motion. Could be wrong.
Stand by.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to any form of broadcasting, best part is, if it can go wrong, it will go wrong, and it will go wrong live. You can do all the prep in the universe. You can make sure everything's working. Suddenly, for no reason at all, everything immediately begins to break. So just stay with us for a moment. Hopefully get it back to you. The race is still going. Do not fear. I think we are back to green. We are. Excellent work in the background.
Apologize
Soccer.
for the technical issues there, Jack.
Not to worry, my friend. We are going again at the mountain in anger. Molita, Stewart, Johnson leading in the top three, and it's a big fight in the backfield. Maybe drivers feeling a lot more feisty after race one. They got their eye in now. Here comes Mike Alley, maybe the 5-car sniffing just a bit on the brakes, having it nice and clean through. That's Paterakis. We know this driver has pace. He had incredible pace in the last race, if not for his minimal mistake. So looking to better the position. But I am surprised. Under green, the field was immediately spread out massively. Alley coming back at Paterakis now down the inside of turn one. Hell corner, though, will be hell to pay if he gets this wrong, and he does. It's round again. Just a bit too much on the throttle. That rear engine car, once it gets out of shape, the weight transfer over that rear axle just spins it round. It's Mike Alley around again into turn one, and we're headed back towards the mountains. All right, here comes Ted Piper through the field.
Ted Piper charging up the field, already up 3 positions on the good of things, trying to make it 4 or more. Bowie Suin, the next driver up, and I believe we talked about him during the warm-up period, that he is in direct competition with him for 5th place in the championship. So this is going to be big. Morné Plooy closing down the gap, the driver behind, wanting to get involved in this argy-bargy action as well. Let's get the side-by-side up between Morné Plooy and Ted to see what they're up to. Morné Plooy backing off just a little bit there, and Ted able to close down on Bowie Suin up ahead.
Yeah, and Alley in pit lane now, maybe suffering just a bit too much on the opening moments. Ted Piper having to narrow his line, avoiding something. This is for the lead here. Stewart on the outside. We saw this a little bit ago. Hopefully it doesn't end the same way. They're going to be side by side going through turn 20. Man, oh, he backs out. He knows he can't make the same mistake twice. It would be unbelievable if it happened again, but Milena's late on the brakes. He gets sort of checked out by Stewart. Stewart playing the mind games, it going absolutely brilliantly. He backed out at the very last moment. A beautiful game of chicken at the highest speed braking zone on the circuit. Sean Stewart now takes the lead of this race, a purple lap to boot for the moment. Johnson then immediately going for that. We'll see Ted Piper thinking about it on the brakes in the turn one. He does do. That's past Suin. Slam dunk maneuver. Gravel being picked up in the faces of our Rangers. But Ted Piper's not careful. He might be getting overtaken right back by Suin. Is going to be maybe a late move into Quarry. He stepped out. No defense being put up from Piper. It's going to be on the brakes. Piper holds it around the outside. There's contact. Oh, Suin goes a bit deep into Piper. Piper managing to just bounce right back onto the racing line. A costly mistake from Suin, and a cost that Piper has going to have to pay.
Let's see the replay here of what happened going into corner number 2. Bowie looked to the inside line. It was all good until it wasn't. He slid out just a little bit wide and taking out Ted, unfortunately, in that incident. But who is that around? Is that Melita? That was Michael Melita off. Let's see what happened here. The 77 driver from Poland coming through the mountain pass just clips the curb, mounts it, and goes around. Such an uncharacteristic mistake from a driver who's leading this series.
Oh, it's not. Yeah, that was a really bad place to end up. I clenched up just a bit. I saw on the replay cars coming towards him. Fortunately, not a replay of what happened in the real 12-hour race. But yeah, an absolute uncharacteristic mistake. You know, this guy's got speed. He's currently leading the championship. And, well, quite honestly, it might come just a bit undone if he's not careful. But it was sort of interesting. It almost looked like, you know, a little bit of braking in the rear in a corner where you normally wouldn't hit the brakes. It was enough to unsettle the car. You know, those inputs not quite worked out perfectly. You know, the margins being so fine in a cup car such as this, on a circuit such as this. Camber's one way, camber's this way, left, right, left. And it just went just a bit undone for Maleta. Fortunately for him, definitely has the pace, so that's not the end of their race. Maybe catch up, gain a few positions here and there. And that's promoted Kent up to the podium. Better than last race for sure. Looking hungry. Hopefully the same mistakes won't play havoc. And, you know, this is the one time where I get to say this in excitement. Saagar, I think we have a three-way coming.
I think we do as well. Wyatt Johnson leads the charge in P2, Daniel Kent in P3, Patarakis in 4th place, trying to close down the gap. Up ahead here is Patarakis, who's been having some ups and downs during heat number 1 and heat number 2. It's all been positive for him, though. He's up 3, and now it's all gone wrong. Unfortunately, getting the commentator's curse just when things were going right for Patarakis. I had to go ahead and bless him with my bad luck. I apologize, Patarakis! Exclamation point curse in the comments for every time that Saagar Bakshi has cursed a driver.
I have had my fair share of commentators' curses. I think my personal record was 5 in one race. The race was an hour and 20 minutes. It was not like it was an endurance race. It wasn't something long enough where it's like, oh, that's fine. No, I did it consistently. And it's real. Don't let anybody tell you it's not. Here's the fight for P2 now. Kent on the back of Johnson. I did do just a little bit of napkin math. I was curious how the championship is looking right now. And if Sean Stewart finishes this race in 1st position and Maleta finishes in 8th, he will, in fact, clinch the championship on the very last race. He will be championship victor. Good news, bad news, 21 minutes still to go in this race, so it's all to play for still. Championship is coming down to the very end, especially in a 7-round championship. 14 individual races for it to come down to this is absolutely stellar.
Yeah, absolutely stellar stuff here with ARL. It just comes to show you that if you get a good group of individuals together with a common mindset, you guys can just go out and have a good time. And that's seemingly what we're doing here with this group of gentlemen drivers out on track tonight at one of Australia's finest, Bathurst, Mountain Panorama. Of course, the program of events here at the racetrack has expanded in recent years to take in not only the Bathurst 1000, but also the Bathurst 12 Hours for international GT cars. This 6-hour production car enduro challenge Bathurst for all corners, and the Bathurst International for the Australian Racing Group's roster of categories. Of course, the circuit owes its existence to the pioneering vision of one man, Bathurst Mayor Martin Griffin, for which a corner is named after. Enthused by racing at the Vale and Peel circuits, which used public roads in and around the city during the 1930s, Griffin quickly hatched plans for a new course in Australia.
And I think we owe it all to him. Everybody in motorsport communities around the world all owe so much to that man. An unbelievable circuit, unbelievable history since its inception, and always a wonderful ribbon of tarmac. Every event that comes here, there's never a boring race at Bathurst. There could be a race with absolutely no wheel-to-wheel action, absolutely no overtakes, but as soon as you get on board, you hear the roar of the engine echoing through the mountains. You see the driver's point of view tackling this wonderful circuit. There's excitement. It's fantastic, and we're getting treated to such good racing here. Championship deciding racing nonetheless. Patarakis seemed to have the pace on Kent, made a bit of a mistake. He's fighting back quickly, but Kent not looking in his rear view, but looking ahead at Johnson. Could be any moment, any mistake here can decide victory or can decide failure. I always love to say racing is all about fine margins. There's no truer fact than that. Anything, any moment, sorry, I broke 5 meters too late. 5% too much throttle, half a second earlier than I should have. That's the difference between you and a barrier. That's the difference between you and the end of your race. And no better is that absolutely presented than at a circuit such as this.
Super tricky conditions here at this racetrack, but the drivers are faring well tonight, and it is all about feeling and flow when it comes down to a track like this. It has to be respected in akin to the Nordschleife, where you really have to master just the conditions of the track rather than memorizing every corner and every braking point as you would a typical street circuit. Mountain Panorama is, of course, consisted of public and private roads, so you can drive it during a regular day of the week when not in use. The Bathurst 1000 held at Mount Panorama is one of the longest running and most prestigious endurance races in the world. It has been a staple of Australian motorsports since its inception in 1960, and evolved from a 500-mile race into the 1,000-kilometer event that it is today. It is just so amazing what this circuit is done. And this circuit's original layout that was designed in 1930 was initially, and still is, a public road. When it became a racetrack, it was modified, but still retains much of its original charm and character. And interestingly enough, it was originally used for motorcycle racing, but that really became a disaster quickly.
Oh, I wonder why. I would have no idea why a motorcycle running up and down this mountain would be any more dangerous than anything else. It's a true mystery. Fortunately, such increases in safety. Daniel Kent running a bit wide. I was going to say, increases in safety in modern race cars. Everybody's seen the clip from Bathurst run out the leader of the race, driving head first into the side of the car. Both drivers, fortunately, okay and able to step out of the car on their own, but modern safety improvements has made a circuit such as this where it could be a killer, and in the past absolutely has been, but fortunately in the modern day, everybody able to race their absolute hardest and able to go home safely. Though I will say, this is a sim race. Nobody's gonna get hurt. Well, shouldn't exactly say that. You can absolutely break a wrist if you have a strong enough wheelbase, but no big accidents that have big tolls, no big bills for our sim racers. Nobody's having to foot the bill to rebuild a flat six that's in the back of these cars. And fortunately for Daniel Kent, he won't have to clean out the gravel at the end of the race, because I guarantee that car will be absolutely full of gravel after a trip that he just had.
And with 14 minutes and 50 seconds remaining, looks like lap traffic is starting to become an object for the drivers to contend with. Sean Stewart escapes up the road, by 5.5 seconds in front of Wyatt Johnson, who's now in P2 in front of Paterakis, Daniel Kent, and Morné Dupont. Now, we did talk about this earlier on. We did talk about this with Ted Piper. It was going to be a challenge for the drivers to get around each other, but now Ted Piper in the number 43 is 3 seconds back from, I think, where he wants to be right now.
Yeah, he certainly wants to be up in the fight, but I can pretty much guarantee that after the incident with Suin early in the race, it's, that car's lost a bit of performance. There might be a little bit of suspension damage. The car's probably not feeling particularly happy. Ted's probably not particularly comfortable driving it, so maybe just nursing it. A good points finish can go a long way. And, any points finish is good enough for him to jump up another position in the championship. But, I want to be in there. I'll go and join that fight right now if I can. I'll pop into my rig, and this looks like an absolute blast. No driver really finding any advantage on the other. That's one of the beauties of cup racing, where everything is to spec. there's not a difference of performance for one car over the other. Good or bad, love it or hate it, GT racing, every car has its strengths, every car has its weakness, and a lot of knowing how to race those is knowing how to exploit those weaknesses. But when it's spec series such as this, it's all down to the skill of the driver. And Daniel Kent really feeling the pressure now, feeling the need to go defensive. We might be seeing a move from Deploy coming soon and fast. Nobody deciding to go for anything through turn one. Sun setting beautifully in the background. So we're coming down towards the end of this season. It's a long run towards turn two, but it's looking like Deploy thinking about it around the outside. Kent's Padarakis, though, it's a bit wide. Padarakis suddenly slowing way down, dropping behind the two, stabbing the brakes, maybe lifting a bit. Bit dangerous, maybe a bit unsightly. They're going to briefly go 3 wide as they're coming through the mountain. Deploy is now the one who's ahead. Padarakis trying to go around the outside of Kent through turn 4, but nothing doing. It's I'm not 100% sure why he suddenly slowed down coming down to turn 2. It is a long braking zone, Saagar, but it's not that long.
That was absolutely insane. 3 wide coming down the mountain straight. A little bumping and banging from Daniel Kent shook up Padarakis there and caused him to slow down quite a bit. And that allowed Morné Deploy to follow through and get that position done and dusted. That was patience is a virtue at its finest, as Morné Deploy was not in a great position going into turn 1. Made it happen going in towards turn 2, and then finally sealed the deal into the cutting.
Yeah, I mean, talk about heart and mouth. In a moment like that, you're just trying to focus on not making a mistake and getting through cleanly. Overtaking is one thing, but doing it with contact, that could come back to bite you. Somebody reports something to the stewards, an investigation happens, maybe a time penalty, and a race you thought went really well suddenly just started to go a bit worse. It's another meatball flag for Mike Alley, and I think the Rotten Bananas racing driver is having a bit of a rotten time in Australia. Kent, though, not having a rotten time at all. He's having a fantastic time. He's going for the race. We're talking about how Ted Piper maybe didn't have the pace. These guys have been fighting so unbelievably hard that Piper is now on the back of this pack. The 3-way that became a 2-way is becoming a 3-way fight yet again. It's starting to get a little bit darker. Headlights on for all of these cars, and it's a bit deep for Piper. Struggling a bit with that damage, just a bit. We'll see how it fares in this fight if it continues to come his way. But up the mountain they go for the next time. 10 minutes to go. We are 2/3 of the way through this race. 10 minutes remain in the ARL Porsche Cup. 10 minutes. The final 10 of a absolutely stellar season. And I can just say already, Saagar, it's not going to be a boring finish.
No, it's not, because we still have Padarakis and Daniel Kent battling it out for track position. Ted Piper in P6 right now, but made a slight mistake in Sector 1 through the mountain. He's looking pretty neat and tidy. Closed down the gap on Kent by a healthy margin here. Coming through the forest elbow, it will be single file as expected. Can Padarakis close down anything on Morné Deploy with just 9 minutes left to go? He's got 2.6 back. Here comes the 10 of Kent. Now they're going to go side by side through the cake. We've seen it go wrong before. Will it be wrong this time around? Padarakis covers the inside line. The 10 holds on to the optimum line, but look at the 43 of Ted Piper closed down the gap from way far back.
Absolute stellar moves. Sometimes you're too busy fighting somebody else. Suddenly there's somebody else in your mirrors. You get into a flat 6 sandwich, and that's exactly what Daniel Kent is experiencing right now. A little bit worse on the brakes than Ted Piper behind Piper. Truly in the slipstream now. Any aero damage that he sustained from earlier in the race doesn't matter now. He's now really on the back, moving left to right just a bit for Kent. He's not sure what part of the road he wants to go on. Ted Piper has to hold behind for now. Maybe not having the straight line. He was close, but not close enough. And I think the slipstream coming off of Paterakis is working in the favor of Kent. You know, he's got a bit of a front gunner that can tow him up the mountain. We'll see how much Ted Piper's working on the steering wheel in the bottom left, and he sort of, well, it looks like his steering is, well, it's hard to say if his steering is mostly straight because it's mostly corners coming up the mountain, but I don't think he's got any steering damage. It was an impact on the rear of the car, so I'd be surprised if the steering from the front wheels was too terribly affected, but no crabbing. Everything looking pretty good for the trio. Super clean, super fast, super adrenaline packed coming down Mount Panorama, Bathurst. Such a good circuit, always exciting to watch, and super good for the 43, but I think he's gonna have to work just a bit harder and maybe find just a little bit more throttle under his foot to catch up to the pair and make some moves.
Oh, excuse me, here's Daniel Kent getting around Paterakis now, coming down through the kink. That was a long way around the outside, making that one stick. Quite dangerous. So if we get a replay of that, I think we have a better angle of the way that Daniel Kent was able to get around Paterakis now, because this is a quite dangerous maneuver. There goes the number 10 on the number 5, and it just was clear there at the kink, and Paterakis had nothing to say about that, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was clean and for me a little bit unexpected. I wasn't paying enough attention to the delta. I was like, all right, Ted's there. He's still following Kent, and I just didn't even see Paterakis on the inside. Very committed. It's probably the first move we've seen through turn 20, that kink, that hasn't ended up with one car spinning violently into the gravel, which I must say, I'm thankful for that, because that gives us more great racing. Piper has gone through while we were reviewing the replay. My best guess, it happened in turn 1. Piper was super close coming around the final corner and maybe went for the dive into 1. And Paterakis, yet again, it's an up and down race. Here's that replay. It was in turn 1. They got absolutely side by side. Not much Paterakis could do in a moment like this. Try to hold it round, but there's a little bit of camber at the apex of turn 1 that if you're able to hug it, it's super easy to get through the corner.
And Paterakis is back
pace
through on Piper now through the mountain section. Battle for P5.
I can't say what
still slinking back and forth.
There was clearly a mistake.
Another replay of that, and then I think we'll officially have caught up to the race action. So here is Paterakis. Oh, and that's what happened to Ted Piper. Oh, a big mistake coming down Skyline. Sends his nose into the wall, and now he's got Bowie Suin behind. And Bowie's got a clean-looking number 4, and this is what we talked about during the pre-race conversation of precision over aggression.
Yeah, it's about keeping it out of the wall, but the interesting thing was for Ted is it wasn't just, sort of losing it in the moment coming off of Skyline. Clearly he went wide into turn 10, briefly went through the gravel, came back onto the circuit. That gravel's going to stick on those slick tires. You're going to come back on the circuit. Oh, suddenly, lack of grip. Those tires are dirty, and that's what happened. Switching back the other way on him. Nose to wall. And hopefully, I gotta say, that car, I imagine, wasn't the most comfortable to drive, and has just, for Ted Piper, become a bit more uncomfortable to drive. His old sparring partner, Bowie Suin, is back on him, and I sincerely hope that their battle goes slightly cleaner than it did last time. 3.5 minutes remaining, 2 odd laps to go, and Sean Stewart is just in a class of his own in race 2, and it's into the wall again for Ted Piper. A missing front bumper that actually magically has come back as we go by. It's one mistake turns into another mistake. It's compounding issues on the mountain, and Ted Piper dropping way down the field now. That meatball flag means he has to go into pit lane, and I think he's now towed his car back.
Really unfortunate for Ted Piper, who is looking really good on this reverse grid. Gained 5 at the top of things for him, and now it's back down into P8. His battle with Bowie Suin might be over here, but the battle between Morné Deploy and Wyatt Johnson isn't concluded yet. Morné trying to secure P2 in the championship, and Wyatt Johnson having that reverse order start for heat number 2 in the feature race. That's looking pretty good for his podium.
Yeah, and something that's worth note, not only has Ted Piper ended up towing to pit lane, and Maleta has also ended up in pit lane with a meatball flag.
And
it's
there's
the
our
leader. He's off on the penultimate lap. Sean Stewart's dropped back. And we'll see what happened. Is it another issue into turn 1? Maybe just relaxing a bit too much. See, everything's looking good. No, the rend is starting to come a bit loose. That's that rear engine machinery. Tries to quickly get it back together. Gets out of the way of the leaders. That's huge for the championship. That might have actually spun the championship back Maleta's way as he was towed into pit lane. This is absolutely huge for the end of this race.
Now, I don't have my napkin out in front of me. What does this mean for the South African driver in P2 for the championship? If Morné Deploy wins this race and takes away the haul from Wyatt Johnson in the lead, could he provisionally or potentially take away the win of the championship?
Maybe. I am napkining furiously, but it might have actually swung back the way of the South African. So give me just another couple of moments and I should have a provisional answer for you. I think I just saw Sean Stewart back into the wall briefly. May have had a bit of a tap. Let's see what the math is looking like in just a second.
Amazing battles here. 28 seconds left to go. Wyatt Johnson will cross the line and lead us onto our final lap. That leaves Morné Deploy with just one final opportunity to get it done. Will it be a last lap lunge or not? Will he be content with taking home P2 in the championship? Barney the flag man waving that flag furiously right now. We give thanks to all the simulated marshals on track tonight, as they're all volunteers of the Bathurst racing circuit. Wyatt Johnson in the number 27 leads the field. Behind is Morné Deploy. Sean Stewart, in P3. Closing down the gap is Daniel Kent, who looks good for a podium. Stamatios Pedarakis in P5. Bowie Suin in 6. Ted Piper in 7. Michael Molita in 8th. In pit road, Mike Alley as well. And Josiah Sten never taking to the start.
I will say that I have determined, my math could be wrong, but I have a reasonable degree of confidence. But Morné Deploy, if he finishes where he is right now, he will win the championship. He will take it by a couple of points over. I think Sean Stewart's going to end up in second, but because of his spin, he's ended up far enough back that the championship will not go his way. Morné Deploy also has that fastest lap, that final point that he doesn't necessarily need, but it's going to look good on the scorecard just a bit. So coming into this final round, Michael Molita was leading the championship by 13 points, and afterwards, the Mountain has taken everything from him. He is going to finish third in this championship. Morné Deploy is going to win, and Sean Stewart is going to stay where he came in second.
Oh, wow. Absolute shakeup for this championship. Completely unexpected going into the final lap, into the final corner for the final time. It will be Wyatt Johnson taking the win, and you can see how excited he is to get that victory. Morné deploy in P2 right behind, and it will be a good championship haul for him. Stewart in third, Kent in fourth, Paterakis in fifth, Bowie Suin in sixth, Ted Piper in seventh.
I'm wondering, I'm looking in the bottom right there. There's Morné deploy. I don't think he has any idea what has just happened. I'm
No.
not sure if he's even aware. Either that could be a total Iceman, could be entirely stoic. But I have the sneaking suspicion that Morné deploy has no idea that he's just won the championship.
I think he has no clue that he won the championship. I think right now he unfortunately believes that he is a bridesmaid and not the bride per se.
Wyatt Johnson, though, the level of excitement, I love that. That's their first win in this series so far, and I gotta say, that level of excitement coming over the line, that is wonderful. That's what sim racing is all about. It's all about the excitement. It's all about having fun, and a victory like that coming from nowhere. Final couple of laps, all right, second place is going to be all it is. Oh wait, this could be for the win. I got to hold this guy off. It does do. Crosses the line. Pure elation. And what a fantastic final round. We may not have had the turnout that some people were expecting, but didn't even matter in the slightest. Unbelievable stuff.
Absolutely unbelievable stuff. And I think we do have a couple of people trickling in to the interview room. So let's go ahead and clear out a few of these drivers. Let's talk to the championship winner right now. Long time no see, and good friend from South Africa, Morné deploy. How are you doing, brother? Morné, are you there? Do you have a copy?
Yeah, sorry.
Lost for words.
I got you.
Hey, brother, how are you doing, man?
I am doing
I
good,
don't
man.
understand,
Yeah,
John.
nice to talk to you again. But yeah, I'm just super surprised, honestly.
Yeah, great to talk to you. But I think better to talk to you under these circumstances as well. Coming out, I think you were P3 in the championship to start this heat, and now you are the champion. How does that feel? And kind of what was going through your head? Did you think it was in the cards? Did you think it was a possibility? We saw your reaction. You looked stone cold. You didn't look like you reacted at all.
I mean, I knew I'd have a chance, a slight chance, especially when I thought it was actually going to be all over when we went 3 wide down Mountain Straight, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, just trying to keep it clean, honestly. At the beginning, I didn't want to start side by side next to Ted. So I just sort of let it play out from there. And just sort of kept behind him until he made a move, and then I made a move. And then, unluckily, Ted and Bowie got tagged. They tagged each other. And then I just snuck through. So I think that helped a lot. If I had to be involved in that, I don't think I'd be talking to you as the winner right now. So, but yeah, it was tough, man. Mentally tough. Just to keep concentration going through this mountain is ridiculous. But yeah, it was a great race otherwise, and congrats to everyone for actually finishing.
I think that is the most impressive thing. Everybody and the attrition rate of getting down to it. Now, Morné, I'm sure there are a couple people that you'd like to thank. Let's give a couple shout outs to some people. Who would you like to thank as part of your victory here tonight?
Yeah, of course, ARL. It's literally the first league that I've actually full league that I've taken part in every race. And to Ted, yeah, for organizing everything. And for the drivers, honestly, these guys are super clean. And it's great racing here with ARL. So, and thanks to you guys for the commentary and the broadcast.
Hey, no problem. Glad to do it. Jack, did you have any final questions for our championship winner?
No, it's just, I mean, thank you for the exciting finale. I was furiously doing math to determine what was going on towards the end. It was super exciting stuff, and congratulations on the championship.
I appreciate that. Yeah, like going back to the points as well. Like I think before the race, I was about 15 or 20 points behind P1. And I knew if I could just get at least a podium on the first race with a decent qualifying, it would definitely help me out. And then just trying to keep it clean in the second race. But yeah, I appreciate that. And yeah, looking forward to the next one.
Talk to you soon, brother. Thank you so much. We're going to bring in Wyatt Johnson next, our race winner. Wyatt, are you there, and do you have a copy?
I sure am.
Man, we could see the elation on your face when you crossed the checkered line and you took the checkered flag. Talk to us about that feeling, what was going through your head, because we didn't have audio there.
It's probably good you didn't. There was a couple swear words that probably wouldn't have flown on YouTube. Yeah, dude, my heart was pounding out of my chest the whole time, man. Just knowing that I had the possible champion behind me, it scared me to death. I was on edge the whole time. I probably didn't look like it, but I was scared, man. It was insane, but it was super fun, super fun.
That's great to hear. Now, what happened during your qualifying session? It looks like you just decided to not set a lap and wanted to start a last to first challenge there. What was that about?
No, so my Wi-Fi actually dropped out while I was mid first qualifying lap. I was super upset, but you know what? We went with it, and you know it's led me here, and I'm really glad it did.
Heck yeah. Now, Wyatt, is there anybody that you want to shout out or anybody that you want to thank before we let you go?
Hey, I just want to shout out the whole server of ARL. Thank you for letting me have the opportunity to come race here in the Porsche Cup Series. And, you know, it's a feeling of winning a race almost like I've never felt before kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it felt so good to win this one because I knew I had the pace this whole time and it worked out. And I was so happy. But yeah, I just want to shout out the whole of ARL. Thank you for letting me have the opportunity, guys.
Right on. Thank you very much for joining us, Wyatt Johnson. And thank you for being one of the participants here for ARL, because without the driver showing up, this championship wouldn't be a thing. So appreciate you being here, brother. Have a great night. And as always, make sure you stay safe out there. Bye-bye. Now let's talk to our next driver. I think we have Sean Stewart here. Mr. Sean Stewart, do you have a copy? And you can round out our podium tonight.
Yeah, I'm here.
How are you doing? Jack,
Yeah.
take us away with Sean.
Oh, you sound like you wish you weren't here, or at least you wish you were here in slightly different circumstances.
You know,
that
Jack,
was
you know,
that was down to the wire, man.
You know what? If there was a small child in my cockpit, they would probably call the cops on me because the language coming out of my mouth was, you know, not the best.
Colorful?
Let's say that. Colorful. Let's call it colorful. Yeah.
Let's call it.
Yeah.
Let's call it colorful.
Are
it
you
was
kidding
great.
me, man?
It was
Like,
it was such a
7-second
good
lead
drive.
to total meltdown.
Oh, man.
And
That's just Bathurst, buddy.
I want to, you know, dude, the nerves got me. Of course, right in the first race, I'm going to say I'm so sorry to Michael Medella, because that side by side going into the down straight there, I made a real poor decision trying to take that curb and took us both out, and definitely ruined both our first race there. We probably would have done a little bit better, but yeah, the second one, I can't say anything but don't take the inside curb too tight on turn 1 at Bathurst, because it'll totally throw you. That's all I got to say about that.
Oh, oh, it was a great drive. It was a great season. I mean, hey, second's not so bad. Best of the rest is at least worth a little bit of something.
No,
On a whole,
no,
how do you feel
Michael
about the
beat
season?
me. Michael
He
beat me.
did.
I'm
My
third.
math was
I'm third for the
wrong.
champion. Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
Yep. So I got bronze this season. Honestly, this has probably been the best racing I've done in a long time. This is my first year ever racing in iRacing. So as soon as I saw that the cup cars were released, I was like, yeah, I'm jumping in that. And yeah, I'd like to continue this series in the future here, because this has been outstanding. A few more drivers would be nice, so we're gonna have to do some work on that. But yeah, overall, having iRacing be our first 2 seasons we've had, it's been pretty bang up. So I appreciate that as far as being a league owner here.
listen.
Yeah.
Well, I think the racing tonight spoke for itself. Even, a little bit fewer cars than maybe you're used to this season, it was still absolutely stellar. So, as
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
viewer, as a commentator, more is always better. Keep it going. That was absolutely stellar. Championship came
Yeah.
down to the final 2 laps of the race.
Yeah, I did.
Any season, I'd consider that a success. Any season, I'd consider that an
That's
absolute
huge.
success.
Yeah. Yeah. At least you know what? Of all the faults tonight, at least I could provide you with some entertainment, I hope. So there's that.
It was entertaining. It was entertaining. I'll grant you that. But
All right.
well, congrats on the podium. That's still
Oh,
something.
thanks.
It's still a medal to go home with. It's something to
Yeah.
frame on the fridge.
Yep. I'm
But
still gonna have a drink about it tonight. So there you go. Yeah.
fair enough. Hey, that just means next season there's more to play for. It was third last time. Let's see if you can't go
Yeah.
for the win next season.
Yeah. That's for sure. We just need more
Well,
rain. Tell Ted more rain.
I don't think I've ever heard a racing driver say that in my entire life.
Okay.
No.
I've interviewed a lot of
You
people.
right.
I've interviewed a lot of people, and I've never heard someone say, "Bring on the rain."
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Torrential
Well,
downpour. Bring it. Yep. Yep.
it's unbelievable. What
Well,
what great final words to close out your season.
my
Thank you
final
for being
words
here.
actually are thank you guys for doing this. This is awesome. We always appreciate the broadcasting around our league. So huge thanks to you guys. I'm very excited to watch the replay tonight. Uh, Also, I can only thank none other than Ted Piper for organizing the iRacing stuff for us. He's been a huge help to me in the league in general. So, Teddy, you have all my kudos with all your help. He's probably my biggest thank you for tonight. So, thanks, Ted, for everything.
Hey, thanks for the platform, man.
Yep. Yep.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Yeah. Likewise.
Perfect
We're all heart
segue
here. That's what it's all
into
about.
talking to Ted next. Ted, final words on the evening, sir.
What a shakeup. That's about all I've got to say. Did we get Modelo in, or how do you pronounce his name? Mikel?
Michael Molita.
Or
Your guess
Michael?
is as good as ours.
Yeah, Mikael
Molina.
Molita.
Maybe.
Is he here?
But Melita did not. I don't think he showed an appearance in here. He said that he
No.
had a long day, so he's in Europe. So
so it's
what
a
time
very
is it?
Oh,
late.
that is a long day.
8 hours ahead of me, so that would be
Too late.
4 a.m. ish.
Yeah. So he
mean,
probably
to be fair.
just took off and went to bed. But at any rate, our results are posted, so we can go back, close this, go to the league, close that, seasons, and view Porsche Cup. And it is finalized. Yep. We got Morn Deploy, 193. Michael Molita, 188. And then Sean Stewart, 186. Sean.
I know.
Oh, that's tough.
I know.
Oh man.
That was the most dejected I know I've ever heard. Oh man.
Like I said, I'm gonna have a drink about it. Let's say that.
And I didn't jump as many points as at places as I thought I was going to. Zanotti must have had this must have been his only race that Zanotti missed. So we have a drop round. So one of Zanotti's races dropped off, or his zero dropped off. So another race came back on, and I stayed in sixth. So
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
yeah.
Well, close in the championship
by 1 point, mind you.
Yeah, I was going to say down to the wire. Now, Ted, we have a lot of sponsors that we should shout out. We have a lot of people that we need to thank. Do you want to help us out with that and give us a shout out? And what's up on deck next for ARL?
Well, first our sponsors, I guess. We got Crosby's Pizza and Subs, which is one of our racers, Dan Shea. It's one of Sean's best friends. It's his business that he is helping us out with servers over on Amos 2, and that is his sponsorship contribution. VPG Wheels, they have given us some discounts on wheels in the past for racers that win our championships and special events and stuff like that. And then Security Solutions, I believe, is pitching in for some servers, right, Sean?
Yep.
So,
correct.
I don't know if Sean knows of anybody else. That's thank you to you guys. Saagar, you are the Real High?
Yes.
Broadcasting.
Yes, sir.
And Morn Deploy is the sponsor for the broadcast with Sim Racers Room. He's got his own Discord server as well. Morn can probably speak more on that. And thank you to Jack for helping out in the booth. Our next season, we're going to be a 2-week break right now. And I do believe I am going to post up a survey tonight, right now, here in a minute. And I'm going to ask the people what they want. And it will be between a few different series. Like I'm thinking like F4, maybe MX5 or MX5, GR86, putting the Porsche Cup back on there as a choice. So we might have Porsche Cup voted back in, but I wanted to give the people of ARL a voice on what they want to race for the next season. But the season, I believe the season after next will definitely be Porsche Cup again, because me and Sean are gone a bit for this next season, and but we'll be returning for the season after. So
sounds great. A little 2-week hiatus as things get decided before we're back in the racing action again, but we'll be back for it, and then the following season back to more Porsche Cups. It sounds like it'll be a great time. Again, thank you to Morné Deploy, again, the sponsor of tonight's stream. Big shout out and thanks for him hooking me up with you guys at ARL. Otherwise, we would have never gotten connected. And thank you again to my co-host, Jack, for all of his wonderful words of wisdom and his excellent commentary tonight.
I'm waving, but you can't see me, but just know I'm waving.
Great stuff. Now, Jack, do you have any final words before we close things out for here tonight?
Can we do that all again? That was some good stuff.
That was
I love
pretty
Mount
good.
Panorama. I'm two races in, over 3.5 hours of racing that I've seen on Mount Panorama today, and I simply haven't had enough. Such a phenomenal circuit. Thank you, Saagar, for having me. That was brilliant. That was beautiful. That was wonderful. And I absolutely look forward to more stuff here from ARL coming soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Thank you very much for staying tuned. It's been a pleasure to be your host. I've been Saagar Bakshi. Joining me in the booth has been the phenomenal crew from ARL. We really appreciate it. If you like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that good stuff you're supposed to do to help out the analytics. But for now, it's time to say adieu, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time for some more racing action. Have a good night, and as always, make sure you stay safe out there. Bye-bye for now.